One, I'm GoldenHawk, founder of the House of Life and creator of the Ancient Powers program. Been having a few technical difficulties with Facebook the last 2 days. It looks like they're making some changes, but I'm on again, and I was wanting to speak today about the very, very ancient foundations we have in personal power. And I understand that most of us just have a really deep feeling. Some of us have dreams about the ancient world. Some call it the Golden Age. It's called other things. Some people connect it to Atlantis or Shambhala. A lot of different connections. But there's two layers of it, and its very center in Pangaea or Pangea, the center of our continental mass before we split apart, was definitely ancient Kemet, Tamara, or known now as Egypt, and it was the area that all of the ancient teachings first came into. It's the area that we are connected, we were connected to the sun from, by the energetic umbilicus before the cataclysm, which took our world off at a 23.5 degree angle and basically ripped our planet from the sun. The teachings coming through this umbilicus into the core of the earth through this area does not mean it was the only area that got the teachings and the truth. The ancient structure was shared all over the earth. It came up directly from the iron core and ran all through the dimensions and the stargates through our little spur or arm of the Milky Way. And after the cataclysm, which ripped us from that connection, we actually became veiled, and what is now called the astral plane was created. It is a closed looping 4D quantum reality, and it is what we have created through past, present, and into future intense. All of our interactions, all of our emotions, thoughts, beliefs, structure inside this, and they're very, very woven together. It comes throughout time from our ancestors. And after the cataclysm, there were teachings that were brought down, which the pharaohs underwent, a lot of other tribal leaders underwent, the shamans, the high priests, the high priestesses, and they did what was called straightening the Jed, or the stairway to heaven, which so many people are searching for. And then they were called sons of the suns or daughters of the sun. They were considered to be divine themselves and gods, the way that the ancients looked at gods, not the way that we've been taught to look at gods. The understanding that this was where creation comes from. And there were areas where the cataclysm caused great scarcity, obviously, and an absolute fear-based mentality. Power took over completely, and only the places where these columns of light, the stairways to heaven, were centered did we create the tribal communities in freedom that was based on the best of for the community and for the world at large. Animals, wildlife of all kind. It's called the green vold. The trees, our vegetation, stones, everything was considered living, and they all had a totem or ally powers, and humanity was aligned with them. At a point about 6,500 years ago or so, some really dark teachings took over, and false structures coming basically out of Sumer actually organized and structured a power over system. They inserted creator gods, and whether these were mentalities or consciousness from 4D, fallen angels, any angel connected to Earth is definitely fallen. So if you're working with angels, understand that, know that. And if you're working with gods, as gods, they're stuck here, they're fallen, and they're in the loops. And in order for each one of us to reconnect as our ancestors did, we have to straighten our own jets, our own stairway to heaven. We've been stuck in the creating, recreating, giving over our time, our thought, our energy, our belief from a point of childhood, which we actually learn everything in a state of hypnosis for the first 7 years of our life, and we're in alpha stage for the next 7 years, where we basically learn with repetition, and we're kind of in between dreaming and awake. That's why when you're in school, elementary school, and in the first part of middle school, it's like, oh, you're daydreaming. You are a daydream during that time. That's how you're taking in your teachings. And everything that we've structured through the generations has basically been done not by choice, not by decision, but by ancestral beliefs and connections that we don't even realize we're feeding ourselves. We're actually feeding the reality we don't want to be a part of. And during the process of ascension or awakening that our planet has been going through, especially since the Great Convergence in 1987, humanity has been awakening. The Mayan calendar, the ending of the Mayan calendar, which a lot of people think, oh, it was a hoax. No, it wasn't a hoax. We made it through, and the Earth wasn't destroyed. It would have been mankind that would have destroyed it if it would have been. We centrally entered the photon field, and if you go into the sciences and take a look at that, you'll see that our solar system has entered the photon field, and we are in ascension. The whole planet's in ascension, and the veils have dropped, and we can move back into connection with the ancient quantum realities. After the cataclysm, return of the netters in a correct structuring form did come in Egypt. They called them the Ennead, the Great Nine, and 5 of them were born to create the shift from our perfected 360 degree or 360 day year, 360 degrees around the sun, to add those extra 5 days, and we had to be completely realigned to the stars because the Earth was tilting, and actually more than tilts, and I'll probably put something up on that, because I've been getting information all my life and searching for the sciences to tell me, or something in the ancients to tell me, and I have journeyed this. I've journeyed it with the netters coming up inside me, the very natures of the ancient star codes, the divine life within us, that power that makes us creators. And I've put a lot together. I'm understanding very, very strongly the nature of energy, and it's real. It's a real structure in our body. It goes way beyond the neural system. I mean, we've got silica, which is becoming part of our life force. We're not just carbon based anymore. Silica, we've got silica base going on too, and we've got silica in our blood, and that has to do with our awakening to crystals and what they call crystal powers, crystal consciousness. All of this is structured inside us, and wonderful thing, I've taught a lot of things in my classes that science discovers, and there's a lot of other people that are teaching things that they've been brought through an internally revealed system that's actually coming up from the inner earth and our ancestral consciousness. And science is proving it. They think they're discovering something new. It's really not. And when I do come in and teach these classes, I base it on the very ancient symbols. I also am not a big friend of what we call the third eye. It's an implant, and it keeps us connected to, once we open it, it keeps our higher spiritual realities connected to this fear, this scarcity, this power over consciousness that came in out of Sumer. It went into Egypt. It went all over the world. And we can watch tribal communities and tribal structures and interconnected tribal structures just go down. And as they go down, they turn us against each other. And we end up having cultural problems, racial problems, problems with whose God's a real God, who's the chosen people of a false God. There's no choices. There's no chosen people. We're all humanity. We are all very powerful quantum field creators. And when I do move through introducing different parts and pieces of this with people, removing the old structure, and there is a whole body of pain in that. And in Egypt it was called the Kayabit. The Khat is a mineral body that it is automatically bound in. And medicine just found it like a week ago. Whoa, yay! The AMA found the Kayabit, the body of pain. Yeah, it wasn't lost. But it is real energy. And understanding this and knowing that the pain that we're feeling isn't someone else's fault. The blocks that we're having, no shame, no blame, no guilt. Step away, step out, forward. Create your own reality, create home. Bring in the structures you want. Bring in the people and the connections that you want. Teach your children, structure your children for who and what you want them to have as a choice to be. Industrialized education isn't going to give it to them. The people who stay connected into the old paradigm and are not choosing to go into ascension have a structure, and it keeps them bound into it very deeply. The false karmic loops. Good karma, bad karma, I don't want karma. I want a free field. I want a place to create what I want for my own reality. A place that's going to attract the people that I want to be in contact with. a place where I can start institutionalizing new educations. I want our earth and our children to have a chance. And I want all of us to be able to heal. And it is possible. And the ancestral pieces that are incorrect from at least 6,500 years of binding into scarcity and war, it's like, we can get rid of it. There was a time when I was a warrior, a light, and I realized, wow, I'm playing their game. I'm fighting them. They're getting my energy. And I had a huge connection with Chief Joseph, and it's like, wow, I shall fight no more. And I laid down my weapons, and I spread my wings, and I flew away from them. If you're a Satanist, you're a Christian, or a Jew, because that's where Satan is, inside their realities, Muslim, Islam, whatever, you're still part of that paradigm, and you're still keeping it going. If you're a light worker, and you're fighting or struggling inside your life or inside your field, you're at the highest level of their 4D realities. I've been there a lot myself. And Heru, the Lord of Light, the brother of Asaru or Osiris, he lives in 4D. He is our quantum reality. Who is the connector to the sun. You're divine. Thou art God. Really. Creators. And this has to be moved into your heart. To love yourself. We have a world event happening right now. The Sirius Gateway is aligned right at the Earth's 10D point for the houses. 10D. Okay, yeah, 10th house on our MC, and it's pouring in. And we've been strong enough, long enough, believed enough, brought light in enough, that we're connecting this. Sirius is sacred geometry, not just to the Earth, but to this whole system. Sirius B star holds every planet, every star, and believe me, every chakra in orbit. And we've been closed off for a real long time. The veils have been down for 2004 was a big year that many of them went down. I can go through the levels and the layers. It's 2012, more and more veils. Now it's you removing yourself from that web. Now it's you deciding to light up those seals and unlock yourselves. Sirius is connected, and I spoke in my other group, which by the way, I am archiving. I will be closing it down because Ancient Powers is my baby. and I love Ancient Powers. It's been my work forever, and there is power in the name. We can do this. We can do this. We can shift. We can take this event. What I spoke of in the other group was the supermoon, the new moons on the supermoon, with all the stargates open, and the fact that we've got Saturn in Capricorn. It's going back over things. The things that aren't in resonance are being spiked, and that's how I got my name back. And brought back into resonance. So this is a time that's wide open for this shift. And I'm not asking you to put away your modalities. I'm not asking you to put away the tools. I'm just saying, step away from their old structures. I have tools that are easier and faster. They might not resonate. You might not want to go there. You don't lose anything here except that astral web that's closed. There's no reason for you to pay karma for things that your ancestors did, that everyone else's ancestors did. There's no reason for us to be, as humanity, set against one another. There's no reason to leave the tribal teachings behind anymore. We can pick them back up. We can take the false gods off us, and we can journey home to free will and freedom. Never caught, beloveds, and I will be putting up a calendar very shortly with what I'm going to be going over on my lives for the next probably month or so.